Endeavor!
Dobby from My Hero Academia is absolutely going viral right now, so let's talk about it in this video and why that might be. You may feel a sigh of relief knowing that the whole Todoroki Toya mystery is behind you, but actually there's a lot more questions that we still have unanswered, and we're gonna get to a couple of those in this video, so keep your eye out because there is still a bit to the mystery of who is Dobby, otherwise known as Toya Todoroki. But let's do a little bit of a rewind and see how we got to that point. In the most recent episode of My Hero Academia in Season 6, that's going to be episode 11, we have Dobby finally making his way to the Shigaraki and Deku battlefield, where Shoto and Endeavor are both dealing with the fact that Shigaraki is really difficult to deal with, we'll just say. The relationship between these two characters has always been really tense, but now we've gotten to the point in My Hero Academia where it's not that Shoto has necessarily forgiven Enji, his father, but in some ways he does look up to Endeavor, the hero, right? And he's kind of separated that one person into his two different aspects, looking for better from one and looking to be more like the other. And here we see Shoto alongside his father on this battlefield as everything in this episode starts to fall apart with the arrival of Gigantomachia. Now we do see Shoto trying to fight Shigaraki for a little bit unsuccessfully, and as Endeavor looks at Gigantomachia and figures like, hey, I have to do something about this guy because I am the #1 hero and I am the reason that this guy is even here because of my inability to defeat Shigaraki. And as he's having that thought and trying to hype himself up, you know, getting up from the ground like, yeah, I gotta do this. Yeah, I've gotta do this. We end up seeing, of course, the great and amazing League of Villains jobber Dobby walking off the back of Machia, or walking at least onto a more flat section of the back to give some words to Endeavor. Now, at the same time that this is going on, we actually see that there is a broadcast that's starting across all of Japan, thanks to Skeptic from the Meta Liberation Army from Season 5 of My Hero Academia, who does have access to various satellites and things that can take over the news and do this kind of large-scale hacking operation that he's doing here. And apparently he also doubles as a video editor, which is pretty great. Maybe I can hire him for this channel. Because of this combined effort between Skeptic and Dobby, we see the news starting to break out in different parts of Japan where people kind of just looking at their phone or paying a little bit of attention. Other people are very interested in what's going on, but the person that I think has their eyes glued to the screen the most is gonna actually be Rei Todoroki, who we know is not in a great mental state, right? Or at least we can assume that based on what we've seen from her over the course of the series. Now, if you remember, Shoto's mom, Rei, was actually placed in a facility for her own safety and the safety of others after she burned Shoto's face with that boiling water because he looked so much like Endeavor. And to get to the heart of exactly why that incident went down, we are going to have to wait a little longer in the season. But if you guys hit that like goal of 1,500 likes, I'll make sure to do the video as soon as possible and you guys can just learn the story before the anime even gets to it. Rei sits in her room where she's supposed to decompress and pretty much have no sort of disturbances that could trigger any sort of mental break or any sort of just disturbing thoughts for her, right? So it's definitely hard to see her having to watch the son that she thought was dead on the screen explaining his life story to the masses of Japan, because there's a lot of realizations that I'm sure kick in at that point. Over in Endeavor and Shoto's area, we see Dobby pouring some liquid on top of his head, and all the dye, or I guess temporary dye that's in his hair, starts draining out and his white hair is actually revealed, showing that Dobby this entire time throughout the entire series has had white hair that he's been covering with hair dye. And actually, funny enough, if you go all the way back to Dobby's first appearance, when he first appeared in the series, he's actually in front of a hair salon. You can see it in the background. So who knows if he went in there looking like that to get his hair dyed, but I bet he probably did wander into there or the beauty supply to get some dye for his hair, because that is a secret that he has been keeping up as the series has been going on. Now, Dobby is very happy to see Endeavor and Shoto, and they're like, oh boy, the League of Villains is here, Dobby's here. And he's like, no. Don't call me by that name ever again, because you know why? I have an even better name that you can call me by. Why don't you just call me Toya? And it's at this point that I feel like Shoto and Dobby are a little stamina broken immediately, because they're like, whoa, you're not supposed to mention that name. That's a low blow even for you villains, right? Because we do see a little later that Endeavor is in complete denial for a second, right? He's like, hey, whoa, Toya is dead. That's an inexcusable, disgusting lie. Take that back. And Dobby just responds with like a gleeful face and a happy face saying, no, this is actually me, but you probably never piece it together. But right now on the television, even my DNA reports are being shown to everyone, and I will be sending those to news agencies and stuff, so there can be no doubt that I am your son. And you know it too, just by looking at me. Even if you want to deny it, even if you couldn't recognize me before, you know that I'm your son. And it's at this point that we get the moment that the episode is named after, which is Dabi's dance, where Dabi starts dancing and throwing his happiness around, really showing how gleeful he feels to all this freedom that he now has on account of revealing his secret to Endeavor, right? This is kind of Dabi's ultimate goal, and he's fulfilling it right now in this moment. And before him, you have a very, very injured Endeavor who looks like he's pretty much out of commission, and Shoto, who Dabi really isn't worried about being stronger than. He knows already that he's stronger than Shoto. So Dabi starts doing his amazing dance, and I gotta say, it was handled really well by Bones. In general, this episode was done very well. I remember a long time ago uploading a video saying like, oh, I really hope that they don't mess this section of the story up, but they did a really good job, and I've got to give them credit where credit is due. And honestly, my only issue that I have with this entire scene of Dabi's reveal is just the way that those last few words or those last few statements were handled when he was doing the dance, because the dance just had such a great buildup of just like, oh no, this is the truth. You know what I mean? Like Endeavor and Shoto, as he's dancing, they're realizing this is exactly who he says he is. And at the end of the dance, we were supposed to get the really awesome line that Dabi does where he's like, the past never dies. The past never ever dies. You are just doing so much better in life. You must have started getting close to the family again. You're the #1 hero. You were just like, if I can keep looking forward in my life and do better with all the things that I have now and just make the best out of what I have, I can really be happy and things can really be okay. But guess what? I'm still here, and I'm here to make sure that that can't happen. I'm here to make sure that you never forget what you did to me and this family, and you never try to move past it, because I couldn't. And it very much adds an understandable level to what Dabi has been going through, or at least what Dabi's goals have been in the series. But again, the end of his speech in the anime, they changed some of the lines, and I really didn't like it. They kind of broke it apart, and I feel like it took away a little bit of the impact for me. But that's just a very small nitpick from what is actually a really good episode of the anime. Now, as we see Japan kind of taking in this news and even seeing very specific people like the kid who watched Endeavor fight the Hayanomu and kind of got the whole crowd back into it, likely to be Endeavor's #1 fan at this point, he even kind of has some doubts about this situation, but eventually it seems like he despairs himself, and that kind of shows us that if even the #1 Endeavor supporter is sort of believing this, or at least buying this somewhat, that means everyone else everywhere is gonna buy it to some certain extent too. And even that kid's best friend told him like, hey, the person who speaks out first often is the person who wins, right? Because people are gonna want to figure out what's true or not later. This drama is enough that people are gonna be talking about it, and it is gonna strongly hinder people's faith in heroes, paired with all the destruction and all the failures that the heroes have been faced with already in this arc. So Dabi, feeling really great about all the accomplishments that he has in this arc, jumps off the back of Maki and prepares to show Endeavor something that I'm sure he was not expecting, because from what we know and from the little bit that we see from the short Toya Todoroki flashback, Endeavor actually didn't get that much time to train with Toya before Toya's fire started hurting his body. And we know from a little later on that it's not like Endeavor was trying to force Toya to work through those burns. As soon as he realized that it wasn't going to be realistic for Toya to have the same kind of firepower as him because of his limited body, he more or less gave up on Toya and moved forward with trying to create Natsuo, Rei, and ultimately Shoto. But despite all of that, despite Endeavor never actually being able to teach Dabi a super move, Dabi here does know Flash Fire Fist, which we know Shoto's been training the entire series to learn how to do. Not only does he know Flash Fire Fist, he also knows what we've seen to be Endeavor's signature move, Prominence Burn. So that amazing move that we've seen Endeavor use against Shigaraki, he used it against the Hayanomu. Dabi, who has even hotter flames than Endeavor at this point, can do that same move. And that raises the question, what other moves has Dabi learned, right? Has he learned Endeavor's entire kit? Is he just pretty much a blue Endeavor? Or is he still limited in what he's capable of, not completely knowing everything that his father was able to do? And as Dabi is jumping off of Makia's back and getting this Prominence Burn ready, you just see Shoto freaking out, right? Like, Dad, get up, let's go grab Midoriya, go grab Bakugo, we gotta do something about this, I need you to get on your feet, help! And Endeavor is he's just not there, right? Not only as the #1 hero is he not there, he's just not there even as a father in this situation, because he just can't think. All the things going through his mind, like, I knew you were alive, I tried to look for you, and here we are in this situation, like, you were alive this whole time? What have you been going through? I fought you already. Shoto has seen you. I've been hunting you down as a villain, and you were my son. And even Shoto here in this situation, it looks like right at the end, he kind of gives up. As you see Dabi coming down of the prominence burn, looking amazing, by the way. So great the way that the prominence burn for Dabi was handled. That just looked amazing, and it gets me so excited for future fights coming down the line of this character in the next season. But of course, all good things have to come to an end, and at the end of the episode, we had the prominence burn being interrupted, thankfully for Shoto and Endeavor, who looked like they had nothing in response to that, by Best Jeanist, who does make his way back into the story because Best Jeanist, of course, wasn't actually killed by Hawks. And that's kind of one of the things that is going to start to throw a wrench in Dabi's plan here, because Dabi revealed a lot of information, but at the end of it, he also revealed that Hawks did in fact kill Best Jeanist, and that's part of his evidence. Now, when Best Jeanist ends up being alive and well, I'm sure people are going to have some doubts and some questions about whether everything Dabi said was true or not. So that interesting situation with the population of My Hero Academia in Japan and how they react to this entire thing of Dabi is going to be really interesting to see, and we are going to see it a little later in this season. But man, Dabi's dance, the main section of the episode that we care about, that was just handled marvelously. I don't feel like talking about Toga and Ochako right now. I don't feel like talking about what's coming next week with that one character coming back that we're going to have really not nice things to say about. Right now, the moment is all about Dabi, and Dabi is absolutely going viral, of course, in the world of My Hero Academia, but he's also going viral outside of the world of My Hero Academia, because in the real world, people are going insane. Now, in the manga, this chapter, or at least the spoilers, actually came out on the same night of the 2020 presidential election, and it completely outtrended the election just from how shocking and amazing it was. This plotline has been built up for so long and so much that so many people just had excitement for it and wanted to share their opinions on it that it ended up being more of a big deal than who was going to be our next president, which is kind of crazy to think about because a lot of people care about that. And I definitely see that situation kind of reliving itself right now, with that all going on again as Twitter blows up with the reveal of Dabi's true identity being Toya Todoroki. So what do you guys think about this episode of My Hero Academia, and are you excited for next week with a character returning that we haven't seen for a good while, getting back into the fight? Not Best Jeanist, I don't think it's going to be someone you're expecting if you're not a manga reader. It's even not in the next episode preview, so they really got you guys just be ready to be blindsided. Now, don't assume that everything is just wrapped up here, because there are some lingering questions that we have to get to about the nature of how exactly Dabi survived into the current day. Because if you remember, Endeavor did say that it seems like Toya completely burned up in an incident, and all they were able to find was a small piece of his jawbone, right? But we see that Dabi has a jaw. It's a complete jaw. Even if it looks a little weird, it's a jaw. So what has happened to Dabi between the time that Endeavor last saw him and now, and how did we pretty much get to this point? Now, I could give you a video detailing all the answers about the mysteries behind Dabi, except for one that we actually are still trying to figure out in the manga, even in the final arc. But you just had to let me know that you guys want that by getting this video to 1,500 likes, and I'll do a video detailing all the mysteries around Dabi that happened besides the fact that he's Toya Todoroki, and trying to give answers on what I think is going on with all those things, or at least the answers that we get from the manga. So this is Pineapple. This has been my video on Dabi's Dance, Season 6, Episode 11 of My Hero Academia. Dabi went absolutely crazy, and he's going viral. And next, I might do a community reaction, kind of gathering a lot of community posts from various different people showing their reactions to the episode. But if there's something else that you guys want to see, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll also try getting to that if you guys want to see more. So see you guys later. It's Pineapple. Love ya. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video. I really appreciate it, and it helps me out a lot. See you later. Bye.